Have you ever wondered which car brands might not even exist a few years from now? Well, that shiny dealership logo that you pass on your way to work every day, could it vanish, leaving owners stranded with plummeting resale values, no parts support, and of course, zero brand confidence? Well, today I'm breaking down 5 car brands that experts believe are hanging on by a thread. And trust me, if you're thinking about buying from one of these companies, well, this video could save you from a financial disaster. So don't click away, because some of these brands you might not expect. And one of them is already shutting down production lines as we speak. So let's get into it. And as always, I'm counting backwards, starting with number 5. And at number 5 is the Infiniti. Now, back in 1990s, Infiniti was Nissan's crown jewel. It was a luxury brand designed to take on BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes. And for a while, it actually worked. The Q45 and the G35 had enthusiasts buzzing, and the brand carried real credibility. But if you fast forward to today, well, Infiniti has become a shadow of itself. See, for 2026, Infiniti is down to just 2 models: the QX60 crossover and the Q80 full-size SUV. And even those come with huge issues. The QX80 is outrageously expensive for what it offers, while the QX60, well, it just swapped its bulletproof V6 engine for a problematic 2-litre VC turbo. Now, that motor has already faced bearing recalls and reliability concerns that terrify long-term owners. And if you add to that Nissan's own financial instability, well, the picture just gets even darker. Nissan simply doesn't have the resources to invest in Infiniti, and luxury buyers have since moved on to Lexus, Genesis, and even Acura. So unless Nissan pulls off a miracle, well, Infiniti could soon join Saab, Saturn, and Pontiac in the automotive graveyard. Coming in at number 4 is Mitsubishi. Now, this one has been on life support in North America for decades. Back in the early 2000s, Mitsubishi still had excitement with cars like the Eclipse, the Lancer, Evolution, and the Montero. Well, today, the lineup is simply anemic. The only halfway competitive product Mitsubishi sells here is the Outlander plug-in hybrid, which, to be quite frank, is genuinely a very good SUV with a solid hybrid systems. In fact, I mentioned it as one of the 20 cars that you should definitely invest in. But one decent model isn't enough to sustain an entire brand, and the rest of the lineup feels outdated, uninspired, and, to be frank, downright uncompetitive. And then there's customer support. Well, Mitsubishi loves to brag about their 10-year warranty, but if you talk to actual customers, well, you'll hear horror stories of denied claims, poor dealer networks, and part shortages. So it's no wonder Mitsubishi's US market share is really a fraction of what it once was. Now, unless something drastic happens, Mitsubishi looks like a brand that's one recession away from vanishing completely. On to number 3. Now, at number 3 is Stellantis. Now, to be clear, not every Stellantis brand is doomed. Jeep, Ram, and to some extent Dodge, they still have brand equity. But Stellantis is a massive umbrella, and some of the weaker brands under it are bleeding cash and credibility. So take Chrysler, for instance. Now, their lineup has shrunk to basically one vehicle, and that's a Pacifica minivan. And while minivans still have a place, well, the Pacifica has been plagued by reliability and simply can't carry an entire brand. And then there's Dodge. Now, the legendary Charger and Challenger are gone, and they've been replaced with an electric Charger that buyers seem to be avoiding like the plague. And their Italian-made Dodge Hornet, well, it's been slammed as overpriced, unreliable, and unappealing. Alfa Romeo and Fiat, well, both are jokes in the US market. They sell niche products that no one outside of hardcore fans really wants to own. Now, Maserati, it might sound prestigious, but its resale values are the worst in the entire luxury market. Buyers end up with 6-figure vehicles worth pennies just a few years later. So the truth is, Stellantis has spread itself way too thin, with too many brands producing too many lackluster products. So unless leadership can trim the fat and focus on quality, don't be surprised if one or more Stellantis brands disappear altogether in the next decade. Now, let's move on to Jaguar. Now, this one really hurts because I've owned Jaguars, but it was once synonymous with elegance and performance. From the E-Type to the XJ sedans, well, this British brand carried an aura that made car enthusiasts swoon. But now, well, sadly, Jaguar has essentially stopped production of almost everything. Their only offering for 2026 is the leftover F-Pace SUV. And even that's just inventory dealers are trying to clear it out, so they still have it. The company has announced they've done making internal combustion cars, and they plan to relaunch as an all-electric luxury brand. But here's the problem. EV sales, especially at the high end, they're softening. Tesla dominates the market while legacy brands are struggling to move their expensive electric SUVs and sedans. So what are the odds that Jaguar, with its already tiny market share and its shaky reputation, can pull off a successful EV-only comeback? And the answer, very sadly, is slim to none. Jaguar might technically relaunch in a few years, but in its current form, it's already effectively gone. So now, finally, let's talk about VinFast. Now, this Vietnamese EV startup made big headlines when it entered the North American market. On paper, it looked promising. It was bold, it was competitive pricing, and it had big ambitions. But the reality? Well, a complete disaster. The VF8 and the VF9 models have been hammered by reviewers as underpowered, overpriced, and poorly engineered. Safety scandals haven't helped either, with whistleblowers claiming corners were cut during development. Now that's terrifying when you're talking about vehicles that are meant to carry families at highway speeds. Even with rock bottom lease deals and 0% financing offers, buyers are avoiding VinFast. And history has shown us how this ends. Just ask anyone who bought a Fisker Karma, which, by the way, I love that car, or a Koda EV. These brands vanish overnight, leaving owners with no parts, no support, and a car that's basically a paperweight. So unless something changes dramatically, VinFast looks destined for the same fate. So what do all these brands have in common? Poor product lineups, financial instability, and, most important of all, eroding customer trust. Meanwhile, brands like Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and even Kia, they're all thriving because they consistently deliver value, reliability, and great customer support. Consumers today are smarter than ever. With vehicle prices sky high and the cost of ownership only climbing, well, let's face it, no one wants to gamble on a car brand that might not be around to honor the warranties or provide parts in 5 years. And that's why dependable brands are pulling ahead, while these 5 I just mentioned lag further behind. And let's be honest, when money is tight, nobody wants flashy features or even complicated tech that breaks down. What people do want is peace of mind, and that's why Toyota Corollas, Honda CR-Vs, and Hyundai Tucsons are flying off dealer lots while Infiniti showrooms sit empty and VinFast cars gather dust. In the end, the automotive industry is brutal, as we all know. Consumers vote with their wallets, and once trust is broken, well, it's nearly impossible to win it back. And that's why Infiniti, Mitsubishi, Stellantis' weakest brands, Jaguar and VinFast, they're all on borrowed time. So what do you think? Which of these 5 brands do you believe is closest to collapse? And did we miss any brands that you think are in trouble? Do me a favor and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your predictions. And if you found this breakdown helpful, as always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the automotive world is changing fast, and you don't want to be caught driving a brand that disappears tomorrow. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.